coming in as we continue our NRL season countdown for 2025. In focus today, the Dolphins, and Kristian Woolf, the head coach at the Dolphins, has given us some time this morning. G'day, Kristian. Thanks for jumping on the phone, mate.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thanks for having me.
How's the pre-season build-up been in a nutshell?
Look, it's been good. Blokes have trained hard and they've bought into a couple of different things, or a couple of things that we're doing a little bit different, and it's been nice and hot and testing for them as well. So I've been pretty happy with the group, and everyone feels pretty good about things in pre-season because everyone's working hard and trying to improve things. But I'm certainly happy with how our blokes have gone.
I guess you would have got this question anyway about how much different this season and this off-season would have been, but you've just pointed out there that there have been quite a few little things that are different. Can you give us an insight into some of the changes?
We've got some different staff, obviously myself, but also a couple of different assistant coaches as well. So, they've both taken on specific roles, and one's doing our contact and wrestle component, the other's doing our defensive movement. And, we've changed just how we put things together a little bit as well through the week. So there's a number of changes there, but at the same time, we built a lot of good things over the last 2 years. So we didn't want to make wholesale changes and make it completely different. We're pretty happy with the progression we're on. But the different personalities and the different ideas have certainly brought some change at the same time.
Transition for you as well. How has that been, and how much different has your day-to-day been? And what about your off-season? I guess there was a heck of a lot of things swirling around your head at night, Kristian.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, it's been good. I've enjoyed the change so far, and days are busier, and there's a lot more sort of meetings and things like that I have to attend that I could get away with not attending last year. So it makes the day busier, but no, it's been good. It's obviously what I want to do and what I enjoy doing as well. So I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it must be, and it's a real credit to you that this transition has been smooth, obviously, thus far. And we've spoken to some players, and they've spoken about that. Now, the job at hand then starts pretty quickly, doesn't it? The pre-season challenge on February 14. You've got the Cowboys first up, round 1, March 7. So I'm sure you know the dates, and you've got the calendar there. What about goals, however? The overriding goal for 25.
Well, look, we haven't sat there and set a goal as such like that. I know we want to keep improving. I think we did that really well over the first 2 years. Our second year, you could tell through the pre-season that we were a fair way improved from what we were the first year. And I like to think that that's how we're looking at this year again in comparison to last year. And, so we want to keep improving and finding little ways that we can improve. But we haven't got to a point where we're trying to set goals and things like that just yet.
Yeah. What about momentum, Kristian? It's something that we speak about often on this program across all sport. Momentum is such an important thing in sport, isn't it? In rugby league in particular, if you can keep that momentum going, given how long these seasons can feel like. Do you speak about that and trying to make sure that at the back end of the season, that's where the solid stuff really is, knowing full well that you'd love to start the season just as good?
Yeah, look, it's a tough one because you're right. You can get your little periods where you are on a bit of a roll, and every team in every season is going to have a period where they're probably not going as well as they'd like to as well. So, it's all good and well to worry about the end of the season. If you don't get the start right, then you never get yourself in contention. So, at the moment we want to make sure we've had a good pre-season, as I said, and I think built some pretty good consistency through that, and we want to make sure that we do start the year well and give ourselves a bit of a platform that we can build off there. But, we haven't worried too much about what might or might not happen at the end of the year just yet.
We've had a discussion this morning on the pre-season and, essentially trial matches leading into the main game and the balancing act between what do you do here? Do you take your stars in particular and try and shield them from any of the downsides of what can happen in pre-season, or do you go all in? What's your philosophy on that?
Oh, it's a bit of a case-by-case sort of thing with different players. So we actually have a trial next week against the Capras up in Gladstone, and that'll be our younger guys. We've got a number of development players and young players that we'll get a great opportunity there and show us how much they've improved through a pre-season. really looking forward to that one, actually, and seeing how some guys who've had great pre-seasons go. Our first proper trial against the Cowboys will obviously be a little bit of a stronger side, but there'll be a number of guys that won't play in that game as well because they played plenty of footy last year with internationals, or they're involved in all-stars camps, and there's a fair bit that goes on. And I do think that most players do well with at least one trial. So we'll make sure that whether it be the second or the third trial, that everyone who we think is going to play round one have had at least one run, and there'll be a couple who will play two because I think it might benefit them.
Yep. Hey, can I just hit you with a few questions? We ask our listeners to send in some questions, knowing full well that you're going to be on the program. So I've got a few here, mate. Don't worry, there's not too many curly ones here. But Max in particular wants to know about how the Hammer's going and what you are planning for the Hammer this season, especially with Trey Fuller out with that ACL.
Yeah, the Hammer's going really well, actually. I've been really happy with how he's come back in after Christmas. He looks lean, he looks fit, and he's been doing some really good stuff around that. Since he came back in after Christmas, and he only came back in after Christmas because he played all those games for Australia at the end of the year as well. So it was important to get him a good break. But the thing with Hammer is you always want to walk in the morning and see him with a smile on his face and enjoying what he's doing. And at the moment, that's what I'm seeing. So I'm really happy with him. But the plan for him is he's going to play fullback. He's our fullback, and I think that's his best position for us. I know he plays centre at representative level, and that's probably because there's so many good players around at rep level, and particularly as a fullback, and he's got that ability to play two positions and do it really well. So, but we're very happy with what he brings as our fullback, and that's where we'll be playing.
Was that an easy chat to have with him?
What do you mean by that?
In our plan is for you at fullback, even though you can slot in the centres.
Yeah, look, I had a chat to him at the end of last year, and obviously he finished the season at centre, and we had Trey at fullback, which we thought was the best scenario for us at the back end of the year for different reasons. But when I spoke to him at the end of the year, he made it really clear that he's seen himself as a fullback, and I agree with him. So, it was a pretty easy conversation, I suppose.
Luke in Brizzy just wants to know about your new signings, the fresh legs that have arrived. So can you give us a snapshot? Finafuiaki, Daniel Saifiti, Max Fingo, Junior Tupou, and what do you want to see from them, and what difference do you think they'll make to the squad this year?
I think all four of them bring something different to us. They're all very accomplished players, and in Junior and Cooley, they're both fairly accomplished, but at the same time they're up and coming players. They've got their best years ahead of them and their best footy ahead of them. But they've all really fit in well. They're all good people first and foremost, which is important. They're good teammates that come in, and the other players enjoy them being around straight away. And again, that's important. And I like the way they've bought into what we're doing as well. So Daniel Saifiti, he's a guy that I'd worked with before at Newcastle, and I hold him in really high regard as a person and also as a player, and I think he's going to be a great signing for us. So I really like his presence. I like the way he's come in and gone about his work in the pre-season, and I think he's going to be a really good player for us there, filling the void of a couple of guys that we've lost over the last couple of years. Cooley, as I said, he's got his best years ahead of him. He's a really talented player. Just his size and power and the way he can move. And he's so raw still. He's got so much to learn and so much to improve as a player. So, he's been really good. He's come into the pre-season fit. He's come in and bought in and fit in well. And he's had a little bit of an issue the last couple of weeks that sort of kept him out of training for a week. But as I said, prior to that, I was really happy with where he was at and how he's going. So I'm looking forward to him through the year. And Junior's a bit the same. He's just such a big, talented winger. He's got so much to him, and everyone knows him for his carry, but when you start working with him, he's got a lot more footy about him as well. And, again, I can really see him making an impact for us and giving us something that we haven't had before, and he's brought right in and fit right in as well. So they've all been good, and Max, I almost forgot Max, he's been great as well. When we lost Tessie New at the back end of last year, we knew that we needed someone who could give us a bit of versatility and a bit of depth through the back line. And Max done that really well, and we had the advantage there of my brother having worked with him at St George Illawarra. So when he became available, we knew he was a good person that was going to fit into what we wanted. And he's also a good player who, again, is a young man and is still improving in his footy. So I've been really happy with all four.
Excellent. Two more from our listeners, straight to the point. One on the text line just says, "Who's the captain, Kristian?"
Well, that's a good question because I haven't come up with that just yet either. Look, that'll be something we do before round one, and there's a number of candidates there. We've got some, we've got a really good leadership group over the last few years, and guys like Kenny Bromwich, Felice Kafusi, Mark Nichols, Tom Gilbert, they've all been a part of that, and they've all developed really well. With Jesse Bromwich is a great role model for those guys. So we're pretty well off there, and they're a great group to work with as leaders. And that'll be where our captaincy comes from. And I know that any one of those four guys would do a terrific job and do the club really proud, and do our supporters really proud as well. But I want to get into our trials and just sort of see how games go and see who I think the players want to follow first and foremost when we're on the field, and I'll make my decision after that.
All right, and final one goes to Charlotte listening in Burleigh Heads about Isaiya Katoa. So obviously after the Pac champs, leading around Tonga there, and the expectations from you for him this season.
Yeah, he's an outstanding young man, Isaiya. He's great to work with. He's just so mature and so level-headed, and he's got a real calmness about him as well. And everyone sees his skill. We can all see he's very talented and very skillful, and what ability he's got on the field. But I think it's those other traits that set him aside a little bit. And as I said, he's an outstanding young man to work with, and he's going to be a great player for all those reasons. So, my expectations for him are that he really steps up and owns, the role this year as a halfback for the team, or our halfback for the team. And I think he's certainly progressing that way and has done that for the last 12 months. And things like his responsibility that he really started to take ownership of through the Pacific Chance with Tonga, and remembering that he's dealing with some really well-credentialed and high-level players there, guys like Jason Tumalolo and Adam Whanua-Blake and Amoli Olakau'atu and Ali Katoa, so him being able to step into that arena and make sure that they know what he wants as a halfback, and for him to really take charge of our team. I think that was a great growth period for him and a great experience for him, and gave him, as much as everyone else, a real snapshot of what he's capable of. So I'm looking forward to him bringing that to the Dolphins this year.
Enjoy this season as head coach, Kristian. We appreciate your time. You've got a fan fest this Saturday at KO Stadium, and it's free for Dolphins fans. And obviously, as you just heard there's plenty that listen to us. So thanks for all of those insights, and looking forward to chatting to you throughout the season.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. For more great content, subscribe to SEN League, your home of the greatest game of all.